Hello everyone, very good morning to West Coast, good afternoon to East Coast, good evening Europe, and good night Australia. My name is Alina Pierkristova and I'm a sales manager at Belkasoft, a digital forensic tool. And today we'll see what is new in our flagship digital forensic product called BEC, or Belkasoft Evidence Center 2018 version 9. So for today's agenda, first of all, what is Evidence Center? For those of you who never heard of it or never tried it, very brief introduction. Then what is actually new in our upcoming release, and then questions and answers at the end. First of all, what is Evidence Center? It is a digital forensic tool which combines computer, mobile, memory, and cloud forensics in one product. It allows you to do low-level analysis of file systems in all modern formats for all modern operating systems. On top of that, it can extract more than 800 of artifacts out of the box, such as emails, documents, pictures, and videos, communications in social networks, registry, and other system settings, and many, many more. It can recover deleted data using different techniques like carving, memory analysis, volume shadow copy analysis, and so on. In the tool, there are built-in viewers which allow you to examine SQLite database, plist, registry, and other files. It also has a link analysis which you can perform using built-in connection graph function. Now a little bit about the company. Belkasoft was established in 2007. And we have customers in more than 70 countries, including countries in all the continents, including organizations such as FBI, all the Big Four, and members of police force from countries like Germany, Australia, China, Brazil, and so forth. So, what tests does the product solve for you? First of all, you can acquire data from a device or a memory or a cloud. Then you can review device file system, including deleted data in some special places, such as volume shadow copy, for example. Then you can search different communications, documentations, media, and this is performed out of the box for this 800 formats, which I have already mentioned. You can find deliberately deleted artifacts using different techniques, and if artifacts are deleted robustly using tools like CC Cleaner, you can find implicit traces if this or that artifact recently presented on the system. The product can search encrypted files, and if you have decryption module, which is paid add-on to the product, you can do decryption for more than 280 different formats. The product supports in-depth SQLite database analysis, which particularly allows you to recover deleted artifacts from free lists, from unallocated space, from write-ahead log and journal files. You can visualize that inside built-in SQLite viewer. Link analysis, which we support, is based on communications and is pretty important in multi-device cases. When you like to see the entire structure of communication between your suspects and other people. So now, what is new in upcoming version 9? First of all, a lot of new types of analysis. I'll have another slide for that. Next number of improvements is viewing file systems and mounting. A lot of user interface enhancements, also worked a lot on performance and usability in this version. A number of new and updated applications supported out of the box on top of what we had in the previous version. A number is much more than 800, but we do not calculate it anymore. It is a little bit too hard. I think it's above 1,000 already. So, what's new in the new types of analysis? First of all, we supported recycle bin data recovery. So now you have a dedicated checkbox to analyze recycle bin. Let me go to the tool. This is what it looks like in version 9. If I add a new data source, let me add an image. In advanced options, I now have the restore recycle bin checkbox. If you check it, when you are adding a data source, recycle bin will be analyzed. Let me go to File System window and let me see two E01 images called disk after recycling. I have added this image twice. First time I haven't selected this option, and the second time I did. You can compare a number of folders, and you can easily see that for the second image there are much more folders recovered with the help of recycle bin analysis. If you go to Case Explorer window, you can see that the second image has much more artifacts extracted out of the box than the first one. That's thanks to recycle bin recovery. Next new function is HEC picture format support. You know it is new format introduced in new Apple devices. Naturally, it's pretty important to analyze them. Getting back to the tool, I have another data source called HEC format. There is just a single picture. You can see that it was found, added to the case, and you can also see picture preview in full size. Metadata can also be extracted. Next feature is macOS system configuration. We put a lot of effort to supporting macOS in this system release, and let me show you how it works. Let me add a data source. I'm adding a folder with a number of prepared macOS system files. If I go here to System Files option, you can see a new checkbox called System Configurations. So let me schedule the analysis and wait a bit. Here in Task Manager, you can see how it goes. It says 35% done. Let me go back to Case Explorer window. Something is already found and extracted. You can see some files like global preferences.plist, apple.com.plist, and some other plist files found and analyzed. You can see some preferences like languages, like web search providers. You can see it was Google in my case. Some other interesting things like recent folders or recent searches, recent documents. There are also IP settings, network settings, proxy exceptions, and many more other forensically important settings extracted out of the box. You know that Belkasoft was previously extracted more than 100 different registry keys for Windows. Now we support more or less the same amount of forensically important settings for Mac OS. Next feature which we supported in the release is PhotoDNA analysis. Let me show you how it works. Again, I have a folder which I added to my case prior to the webinar. You can see the 6 pictures which look pretty similar. If you pay attention to the picture properties, you can notice PhotoDNA property there. In order to calculate this property, you should go to Options, to the Hash Set tab, and specify PhotoDNA hash algorithm here. If you do so, all pictures will get this PhotoDNA hash values. So now, thanks to PhotoDNA analysis, you can deduplicate these files. To do so, go to Filters, add a filter, go to Duplicate using PhotoDNA and check it. Now you can see that there are just 4 pictures. If I select one of the pictures, you can see its duplicates. There is an algorithm which compares these PhotoDNA hashes. And if they're different not so much, the algorithm supposes that this is the same picture, maybe a bit cropped or resized. Now we deduplicate the 6 pictures to 4, and that's how it works. Next feature is a feature which I can't show because it is very time consuming. It is support for compressed NTFS files. We have found this issue not just in the previous version of our product, but also other forensic products that compressed NTFS files are not supported. This is really important for huge files such as Outlook mailboxes, which are compressed by default. Some other products and previous versions of Evidence Center would not support big Outlook files, which are places inside images. If you work with images, not with live disks, where Windows natively supports compression, you may miss a lot of information from such big PST or OST files. In this version of Belkasoft Evidence Center, compression is natively supported without help of Windows, so it is supported even in images of various third-party forensic formats. Next important improvement, which was frequently asked by our customers, is OFB image format. OFB is image for mobile devices. These images are created by software called Oxygen, and we now support mounting and analysis of OFB images. If you go to Add Data Source window, select Mobile Image here, you can see this Oxygen format backup file, OFB. I have already added this image before the webinar. You can see that it has successfully parsed it and found it some documents, some 100 pictures, 46 videos. You can also go to File System window to make sure that you can review internals of this OFB image, folders, and files. It is important to emphasize that Belkasoft now supports more than 25 types of images, including many third-party formats. So BEC is a tool which can unite all images in one place. You know that many tools on the market do not play well with the other tools, and it can be hard to review two images from different tools at the same time. BEC can combine images such as NCase, FTK, X-Ways, and Oxygen now in one place. So you can do cross-analysis, you can do link analysis to see what is common inside these images, how people were communicating inside, and so on, to get the entire picture even if parts of your case are acquired into different formats. Next important improvement, which we paid a lot of attention in this release, is user interface. In the dashboard, you may have noticed already that it's redone, and you can see the icons made much more clear and modern. We have redone predefined searches, pictures, contact icons. The way how numbers are presented is improved. Say it instead of millions, you can see 1726K. What is much more convenient and uses screenplays better. The same numbering is used for predefined searches. It is done through all the products, so you can see the same picture in Case Explorer. All the pictures and icons made much more modern, so the product got more modern look and feel. Another set of improvements is plist, registry, and SQLite viewers, which are brushed up. For example, let me go to File System and open apps.db, which is SQLite file. In my Properties window, I can see SQLite tab. From there, I can open a full-size SQLite viewer and see that it was made much clearer than in previous version. The same for other types of files like plist files. Let me go back to my Case Explorer and find macOS system settings, most of which are plist files. For instance, let me click on Recent Host file and open it in top level window. You can see that the plist viewer is brushed up a lot. You can navigate between various nodes with the help of mouse of using status bar. You can do various things like save XML if it was binary plist, or you can even parse plist from clipboard if you copy it from another source. One final important improvement is adding Japanese language requested by customers from that country. Apart from that, we have a new dongle design. You may remember that our dongles used to be green and now they're white with a nice Belkasoft logo, so that you won't confuse them with other vendor dongles which have green dongles also. Important set of improvements is performance and usability improvements. First important improvement is the duplication of carved and analyzed files. When you carve all the hard drive or image, most of our customers usually carve everything, not just free space or not just unallocated. When you carve allocated space, you can recover the same file which you have already analyzed by existing file analysis. Imagine you have 100,000 pictures of your image as allocated regular, not deleted files. If you carve the same allocated space, you're going to have 200,000 pictures, and of course analysis of this 200,000 pictures will be twice slower or even more because the case database which stores these pictures will be bloated with data and its performance will degrade. So what we've done in this version, if you carve a file that is offset it's the same as of already analyzed file, we will not add it to the case. This helps you to reduce processing time a lot. It wasn't there in the version 8.6, it's a new feature. Next usability improvements is EML and MSG file grouping. It works like that. Let me add a folder with 4 MSG files which are actually emails about my older trips. Let's wait a bit until they are processed. In previous version of Belkasoft Evidence Center, every message in AML or MSG format is shown as separate profile and represented with separate node in Case Explorer. Imagine how huge it becomes if there are thousands of MSG files. What sometimes happens if someone exported emails. In version 9.0 BC now combines all MSG mails and EML mails into a single profile which shows all the email of corresponding type found inside your entire data source. A very big improvement which a lot of our customers were asking for, but we were limited by third-party software, so it's unfortunate it took us that long. No dongle 64-bit version and also 64-bit version for a trial are now available. In previous version, only customers with dongle license could have used 64-bit. This was caused by a third party. We worked hard to overcome this technical difficulty, and here it is. In version 9.0, 64-bit is available with fixed license too. Those of you who have fixed license can now upgrade to 64-bit. This is free, but you will need to ask a new license from us in order for a new version to work correctly in 64-bit mode. 32-bit version is now discontinued, and that's because of a huge amount of data nowadays. 32-bit version fails a lot of memory exhausting error. 32-bit will no longer be available anymore, with exception of portable version, which is unfortunately still 32-bit, but we're working on making it 64-bit as well. Next performance improvements are reporting, startup and memory consumption improvements. We redone reporting from scratch. Those of you who were using reports for cases with millions of items know that report could take hours to generate. What was pretty bothering. Now it works so much better. Let me go to the tool and create a report for something relatively big. Here I have a browser data with more than 300 artifacts extracted. Let me run report for it and select HTML report. Here it is. You can see that report generated took less than 1 second. Well, 300 is not a huge number, but you may remember that in the previous version, even one artifact could have easily taken 30 seconds or so to generate a report. In some cases, the reporting becomes 100 times quicker than before. I hope that there will be much less complaints about the reporting. We have also worked on the startup performance implemented with some technical tricks, so your bigger cases will now open much quicker. Finally, Memory consumption was decreased especially for cases with multiple devices. Now this cases consume much less memory and open quicker, and you will not have this out of the memory issue anymore. Now, new and updated applications. Each new version we updated application we already support, and we add some new popular applications. I have already shown some system settings for macOS, but we also added dozens of formats and applications for iOS, Android, Windows, and macOS. Some of them are already there in 8.6, but we have updated them. Say Facebook Messenger we support for a few years already, but it naturally updated pretty frequently, so we have to follow. The same for Snapchat or WeChat, for example, but Springboard is something what we support only in this version. For Android, again, Snapchat was already supported, so it is updated now. We supported Viki Coffee, Yandex Taxi, or Kate Mobile. This is something new. For Windows, there are 27 applications which we supported or updated. We have put significant effort to some Chinese applications by request by our customers from there. You can see some browsers like Baidu browser or Tencent QQ browser or 163 email, which is pretty popular there. We have also supported Chrome encrypted cookies decryption. You may know that Chrome can encrypt its cookies now. On Windows, we can decrypt this kind of artifact. Let me add another folder which has some newly supported apps. Let's wait a little until this app's artifacts will show up. By the way, in Task Manager window, you can see a new button called Configure Task. It is also kind of usability improvement. If something requires your attention before it was showing a pop-up window which did not allow the process to resume, at least for one thread. Now all these tasks are not occupying the processor time. They are put to the pending state. Unless you can click this Configure Task button, they're not put into the task queue. If you go home after you have scheduled an image processing at the evening, you won't see a bad surprise in the morning because a lot of tasks are asking for your attention. You will only see this task which asks you to configure them. Let me click on this task. This is WhatsApp Messenger extraction. WhatsApp encrypts its data with crypt12 encryption format in order to decrypt it. The decryption key is required. That's why the task is asking for additional input. There is some instant messenger which is Signal. You have to specify Signal password, the same for home cookies. Here you can see decryption options. You have to specify Windows user passwords and protection folder, or you can use the current user if you do live machine analysis. Let me go back to the Case Explorer window. You can see a number of browsers, instant messengers, and number of new mailbox types. Some mobile application, here it is, Kate Mobile. This is a Yandex Taxi app, which is similar to Uber. And also, you can see Uber Rides, some Zello chats, and so on. What's new on macOS 17 formats? Again, some Chinese apps like QQ browser and system settings, and a lot of other stuff like Keynote, Numbers, Pages, Spotlight, recent searches, as well as Apple Mail and Contacts. Next, we supported more than 50 languages for text recognition inside pictures and videos. Now if you go to Options, go to Pictures, there's a drop-down box called Text Recognition Languages. By default, you have English only, but if you need some other like French or Japanese or some other language, you can write to our support to get corresponding language files. which will provide you along with the instruction of how to configure them and use to recognize the scan tags, or if you have a PDF of a picture inside, or if you have a video, you cut keyframes from it. Finally, there is a low disk space notification which some of our customers ask to add. You know how when you run carving for pictures and videos, cases may become huge. Now the product warns you that you have low disk space. Being warned, you have some time to free more space, otherwise you know that the database file, the case file, can become corrupted and you may lose some of your work. So this helps you to maintain your case database integrity. Here is the status of the current release. Version 9.0 is not yet released, but the beta version of the trial is already on the site. We will notify you when the final release is up on our site. Hopefully it will be at the round of the first week of April. If you're not yet signed to our newsletter, please sign up to see the public announce about the release. If you have any questions, I will reply to all of them. Also, you can contact the CEO of the company, Yuri Gubanov. You can befriend him on LinkedIn. The trial version is up on our website. It's the 64-bit one. Thank you for your attention and your time today. We hope that you will enjoy the new and more powerful version 9.0 of BEC.